It may be only 10 books, but getting that thumbnail hurt my arms. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Callie, and today I'm gonna be going through some bookish worlds. What I've done is I've picked 5 books that I would love to be a part of their world, whether it's the magical system, the type of characters, the type of creatures there are, and just kind of the whole ambiance of the entire world. With that, I have also chosen 5 books and worlds where, as much as I enjoyed the book itself, no, just no, it would result in my death. It would be just not my cup of tea, and just worlds I wouldn't realistically survive in. So I'm gonna start with the 5 worlds that I don't want to be a part of their world. The first one is pretty much an obvious one. It's been a part of a meme forever, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, where children aged, I believe it started at 12 to 17 or 18, are reaped, 2 from each district, to compete in a game to the death for the rich. There is no way I would have ever lasted in the Hunger Games. And I've always been a District 4 person, love District 4. So while it is a higher up district, it still would not have gone well for me. Love the books. With all of these, I do really enjoy every single one of these books. It's just worlds that I would not survive in. The next book that I've picked for this is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is a world that is constantly at war, and war is just a huge impact on this world, and we are following a girl who ends up testing into this military academy against all odds to her gender, race, age, and all of that. But I've read the first 2 books of this series. While this world is really cool on a magical front and on a political front, no. This is such a graphic depiction, one of the most graphic depictions of violence and war and all of that I have ever read, which makes getting immersed into the story really easy, but it is very gruesome, and it is not afraid to cross those boundaries with the reader when it comes to war and all of that. I also decided Illuminae is not a world I'd like to live in. Purely because, now Illuminae, I could live on a separate planet, but we don't really know the political stakes of what's going on outside of the 3 main locations that we know from the 3 books that we get in this series. And with AIs going AWOL, a corrupt corporation bombing planets, and a disease that makes people into zombies, that's just a bunch of horror movies wrapped up into one that I just don't want to be a part of, even a little. Like, I probably wouldn't have gotten sick. I probably would have gotten everyone else sick, because I like to just carry things and give to other people, which is why I haven't left my house. The AI thing would have been a big killer. He killed a lot of people, and that was a lot. That was a lot to take in. Illuminae is a fantastic series by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff that is told with data files opposed to a typical novel format. I would also highly recommend their other sci-fi series, which is Aurora Rising, which I believe the final book for that comes out next month. I want to say next month. The next book that I would not like to live in is A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. This world is so cool. There are basically all these different worlds that are on these like spires, and we're following a girl, Ophelia, who is engaged to a man from a different spire. Her spire is very naturey, very passive, and his is very cold and The political system is extremely cutthroat, like Cruel Prince cutthroat, and she has to kind of figure out that demeanor. Plus the magic is really cool. Ophelia has 2 magics. She can walk between mirrors, and when she touches objects, she can understand their history of it. I really like that concept, but the cutthroat political system of this book, I would not do well in at all. I have no filter, and that would have gotten me killed very quickly. Ophelia is very good. She's a very quiet and shy main character, which I was originally pretty apprehensive about, but it's written in this world where being shy and not being that very bold female main character has saved her life. And the last world that I have zero desire to live in is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. Now, I haven't done my full review on this yet. I'll be doing that later because I read it in September. I loved this book so much. It was so cool. We're following this girl who is basically exactly as the title says. She is an inmate in a prison, but she acts as their healer, and that's what's kind of been keeping her alive within this prison. Now, the reason that I say I wouldn't want to live in this world is she's been in prison since I think she was, it was like 9. It was like between the ages of 8 and 10. She was put in prison, and they were just like, yeah, okay. And she's not the only one. This kingdom, we know nothing about really the kingdom on the outside. We are in this prison the entire story. We just know that they're just like, you looked at me wrong. Jail. I don't care how old you are. And like I said, I have no filter. I would have been sent to prison, and this prison is very much like the prison camps of Throne of Glass and Dovier, Calcutta. They're very cutthroat, and they have to deal with population problems, and they deal with them in not ethical manners. So, not a world I would survive in, even a little. But I would highly recommend this book. It's fantastic. It has all the elements that I love in a fantasy novel. Now for the opposite end of the spectrum, these are 5 books that I would love. Now, don't get me wrong, probably wouldn't survive in them either, but a little less intimidating and a bit higher chances of success when it comes to the survival rate. The first book that I've chosen for this side of the list is Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. I picked this because I've read the first 4 books. I haven't read the newest one, Witch Shadow, but I've read up to Blood Witch, and it seems that almost everyone in this world is some form of a witch. There are so many different types of witches, which I think is so cool, and while you get a very small sect of that in typical witchy stories, where you have the Green Witch and you have the Fire Witch and those kinds of things, this one takes that concept to a whole new level, and it's done really well. I love the story. There's also so much to do with found family in this, which, again, very fantastic, and I love the concept. And I want magic, and this seems like one of the better places to get said magic. The next one is kind of an obvious choice. I picked A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I'd love to live in Prythian and be a fairy. That would be awesome. I would probably, if Autumn Court wasn't so awful, I'd want to be a part of Autumn Court or Summer Court. I don't think I'd do well in Night Court, as much as it pains me. But one of those 2 I would be a-okay with. Plus fire, water. I'm into it. I really like it. And well, I'd want to be after the war. After the war. So I'd want to be living there somewhere between Akawar and Silver Flames. Somewhere in that era of Prythian. Up next, I picked Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This one is, very similar to Illuminae in the sci-fi element. We are on a planet where humans are slowly dying, and they're trapped on this planet. It's not Earth, and they're trapped on this planet because every so often these aliens come and try and prevent them from leaving. We don't really know why. Now we're following our main character Spensa in this, whose ideal lot in life is to be a pilot, but her father is a known traitor, and he's a known traitor So she's very much shunned, and she ends up getting able to go into pilot school by blackmail, which is all explained in the first like 20-30 pages of the book. So I just love this world. I think the whole fighter pilot thing is really cool and really unique. I love, this is one of the books that is just that humanity will persevere is at its core. And I really just, I love how vibrant the world is. And that's why I picked it for, I wanted to have at least one sci-fi on this side and on the other side. But I just find this one way more survivable, even with the attacking aliens, and it's just a lot cooler, in my opinion. Up next, I had to pick one of these books. I picked Deep Blue by Jennifer Donnelly. It's being a mermaid, and I love this series. I should reread this series because it's been so long. This was one of the first series that I picked up when I graduated college and wanted to get back into reading, so this jump-started my love of reading again. And we are following a princess of basically the Mediterranean Sea. They have different names for them, obviously, but in the map, it seems that that's kind of where it is geographically. Her entire kingdom is attacked, and she has to try and determine if it's from humans or if there's impending war between all the Mer. And she has to... She doesn't has to, but she ends up making friends with all of these different girls from these different kingdoms throughout the entire ocean. And it's really cool, the different types of mermaids we see. And it's such a fun, perfect mermaid story, and I love it. And I just want to be a mermaid, which is why I have all these Ariels everywhere across. I no longer have the red hair, but that is the reason I had red hair, is because that was the only way I could channel my inner mermaid. The last book that I picked for this is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I picked this very similar to Truthwitch, where this is in an X-Men-ish future where most people have some sort of superpower. We have this hero academy similar to X-Men. What I like about Renegades is we are following a hero, Adrian, but we're also following Nova, who is a villain who's trying to infiltrate this hero academy because she has a grudge against the heroes of the city. I just think this world is really cool. It felt like a superhero movie from book 1 all the way to book 3. And I love that. And the different array, there wasn't just flight or invisibility or super straying. There were so many unique aspects. Like Nova, who is our anti-hero, she can put people to sleep, and she doesn't need to sleep. So her alias is Nightmare, and I love that. And Adrian's superpower is really cool. Whatever he draws comes to life. And I think that that's really cool. And you also get to see, again, similar to X-Men, you get to see the limits of their powers. And you get to see, I guess another thing I can equate it to is My Hero Academia. The array of powers and the limitations and the obstacles that you have to overcome in order to level up your powers, I think is really cool, and I loved the way that that's told within this story. And who doesn't want superpowers? I think that'd be really cool. Those are the books that I picked for worlds that I would love to live in and worlds that I'll take a pass. And that's going to be it for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, with the occasional Sunday. All of our links are down below in the description, and I will see you guys in our next video. Bye!